Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. Welcome. I have seen a lot of new digital faces, new friendly faces here joining us because of the part one video that I did when I was going over not doing goals this year and using this section of the Sterling ink. This is just the booklet, but then I transferred it into my A5 here. So these are both A5s. You can do this in any of the booklets. I will go into like just one thing I use that is a certain size that if you want to directly duplicate, there are some little sticky notes here, but and they don't fit as well in a B6 or smaller. But they fit the A5. So that's the only thing. Everything else, though, think about it, see if it might help you. It's like totally up to you. Again, I am doing what's best for me. And I do love that the community is really enforcing like these are the things that are best for me because there are so many options out there. And because there's so many options out there, especially since I'm neurodivergent, I'm ADHD, dyslexia, audio processing disorder, like I got some things going on. Those are just part, is that I can be very much wanting to try all the new shiny things. But I feel like when I started in this, in the first part, and if you haven't seen the first part, I link it directly down below. It's now labeled as part one because it really, it goes over exactly this. I did go and write a little bit on the second page, but realized I don't want to take this avenue. I don't want to track each of these things because I kind of went a different direction. But this was my first draft because I wanted to get the ideas out. I wanted to kind of talk through why I was looking at this as like when things are happening in my life that are throwing off my plans, what do I do? So some of the things here, delegate, research, sleep on it. I wrote these kind of things. And then towards the end of the video, I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be better to not be like totally focusing on the negative here and actually list some positive things too. So, just a little background about myself. My name is Katie. Hi. I didn't say that in the beginning because I want to get to the fun stuff. So I just yeah. I have been on here just a couple years. It's maybe a year and a half. I don't remember, which is why I plan and write things down. I honestly don't remember a lot of timelines and when things happen. So that's just how my mind works. I started off filming my MäksēLife. I was in, before that I was in Inkwell Press a long time ago. I love the disc system because I could like move things around. I still have some of my stuff from that. It's funny how things kind of change so much over time and your style changes and everything. I just find it really interesting. But now I'm in Sterling ink and also paper tests. So if you want to see me on my weeklies, I do A5, B6 paper tests, and B6 weeks. So the A5 is Sterling ink. I film those all together. And I asked if people wanted to have those separate, but we're just going to do single videos with chapters in them. So you can jump around if you have those certain planners and are interested in those, or you can just like follow along with my life. So that's a little bit about me. I've been like a web designer most of my life. That's kind of the most nearest and dearest to my heart because I've been doing that, let's see, 25 years. This is 25 years. Okay. So yeah, I'm in my mid 40s. I have a family. That's a little bit about me. So that kind of gives some context about why I'm doing certain things. So again, I got this far and I actually had to re-listen to what I talked about because I don't remember. I searched through my like notes or my transcript just to see like what did I talk about? I don't remember. And I hardly ever listen to my work. I just kind of move on. And I was like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. So I got a lot of good feedback on it. But I wanted to continue because I felt this was a rough draft. It had some really good ideas. And so as I was listening to that, I redid mine and came up with this. So, excuse me, if you know the MäksēLife system, they have color coding that works like this. But I did change 2 titles. And actually, I had to map that out first as I drop something back here. I went ahead, this is my B6. I wanted to remap out the categories because they weren't quite working for me. So work is the same. This used to be fun. And I changed it to ventures, kind of not quite adventures, but I'm venturing out of the house. And that's something really key to me is I'm very much a homebody. So I wanted to address both environment, which is internal to the house, and venture outside of the house. To me, that was kind of an important differentiator. I don't know, it just felt right to me. And a lot of fun things can be outside of the house. But it's something like if I'm feeling more bold and I'm connecting in person. And then personal, I'm changing to like my personal body and taking care of my body. And then the flip of that is mental, is just all kind of mind stuff. This used to be spiritual, but I just felt better that I had like, again, external and internal for myself. Wellness is the same, relationships is the same, financial. So the rest of them are the same. I just kind of in pencil here was also looking at, because the Magic of I book here has very similar like 8 categories. And so at the beginning here, they have these eight areas of life here. And I liked the mental and just kind of rode with that. So it is very similar. And so I kind of just made that my own. So I just wanted to get that clear and just have some color codes so that they're in here. I do each week then, let's see, that's February, it's January. So in between here, I put this list and I use the MäksēLife markers to just kind of like check things off. So let's see, that was last week. And then this is the one I'm working off of. So not too much will change in here, but I will introduce the mental back into here with like almost a teal. I didn't quite have the same teal color here. So between wellness and mental, there will be kind of 2 different colors. So I didn't change it that much. But I wanted to give you kind of a background of where the colors came from. And I did end up using their just Mr. Pen 28 by 28 millimeters, and I'll have these linked below. You get both of these. And I've used very little of them. I'm not sure how many are in each stack, but they're working. They're working. They're sticking very well. The other thing I did was I used like just a Tombow across the top to just white out those headers, because when I see multiple words, especially with dyslexia, it jumbles things up. So I just wanted it nice and clear on the top. So what I ended up doing was having my categories. I just was like, well, I want to put the categories down. Like this was all blank. And I'm just like, okay, I need to at least see these and start mapping out some things. And then when I rewatched my video, I talked about, well, I'd love to color code this. And well, that's what kind of ended up happening. So then down the side, I decided, much like my health planner, I put high, medium, and low energy and what that looks like. so I can identify kind of where I'm at. So that's these three rows. And then I put just some dots here just so I can kind of visually see the difference, but not have a big thick line there. This says spinning. So it's just the side there. It says spinning and stuck. So those are kind of my two opposites of how my brain is. They're both kind of freeze or I guess flight. I'm trying to think what like ruminating would be. Maybe there is an equivalent, but like my head can really be spinning and just overwhelm and overthinking, or it's kind of shut down and stuck and I can't see a way forward. So I figured like the very top row, and I wanted to kind of have it go up to the positive. But being super productive doesn't mean it's positive, I guess. I work in a lot of spectrums. So I see a lot of like, well, you're kind of towards this side or you're kind of towards this side. But I think spectrums are within a circle. So if you have a circle, especially if you're like on a computer and you're kind of using like one of those color pickers and you're kind of going around and going, okay, I'm a little bit more green, a little bit more red. And then it's kind of white in the middle and kind of dark on the edge. That's how I kind of view it. It's more like a circle, because if you kind of make it a line spectrum, sometimes you can label one side good or bad. But when you have a circle, it's really hard to label one side good or bad. I deal with color and I deal with like the whole spectrum of colors, and they're all just existing together, right? They're all just kind of, I mean, you could do that as a mood counter, I guess, if you're like, well, I'm feeling a little blue or feel a little angry. I mean, just like, what's the movie? The Pixar movie. You're probably all saying what it is. It's definitely not Up. That's the one with the balloons. It's the one where everybody's inside the head. Anyway, so I think that having things color coded for me don't give like emotional weight. Like it does give an identity to what these are because I relate them to the kind of task they are. And I've been using these colors so much from MäksēLife, I didn't really want to shift them too much, and I already had their markers and things. So yeah, kind of the only color coding that I'm doing is just for a label. But then I'm also trying to look at this middle part as not morally good or bad. And so I mainly want to do it from observation, because sometimes my high energy can mean that I'm overdoing it and that the next day I'm going to have to like take a break. And I have to say, when I'm looking at this, when I was making this middle part here, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty much in the middle. And then I dip down if I'm not feeling so well. But then I also was listing things that would kind of like help me in the moment if I have really low energy. So I wanted to kind of go through these and explain them a little bit more quickly enough. So like personal, I'll just go through this. And you'll kind of see the pattern here of how things are happening. So personal, if I have high energy, I am washing my hair, I'm doing my entire skin routine, I'm picking out a fragrance that I love, I'm getting my laundry done, and yeah, like just taking care of a lot of those things. Could there be more in this box? Yes, but these are just kind of the highlights and what really clues me in. If I'm kind of medium, then I'm like daily showers. And there's no shame. I don't think we should judge people on whether they take showers or not. Some people have access to showers and can do that a lot. Some people do not have access or do not have the energy to. So for me, because I do have certain health conditions, especially after a recent surgery, Also, when I had a hysterectomy over the summer, like those things are very important to be keeping everything clean post-op. Like there, but if I'm not, then sometimes I'll go like a day and a half, 2 days. But I know I will feel kind of, that's just me because of my skin sensitivities. I also have like rosacea, so I break out a lot. So there's just extra oil in my skin, and so if I'm not staying on top of that, that could be a health concern too. So I'm not saying like daily showers is morally good or bad. I'm just saying my situation, it really helps me to stay in the middle. I'm always like, oh, it's for neurodivergent people, there can be a lot behind getting the motivation of getting into the shower. And once you're in there, you feel really good and you want to be in there. But I know even within my family, there are those who just, it's so hard to get in. And then once they're in, they don't want to come out because the feeling of the water is very soothing. Sorry, mini rant there. But just looking at these things is not morally good or bad, just that I know that what's best for my body is if I kind of take care of these things. But so just putting on some lotion and flossing, just those are kind of like the basic middles. But if I'm having a really low energy, maybe just swapping out my clothes, washing my face, putting some lotion on, brushing my teeth, and putting some lip balm on. Like keeping it really simple and knowing when I'm getting into bed, I'm very comfortable and I'm taking care of myself to that degree. If my head's spinning about things, if I'm like, oh, I have to do certain things, or which products should I use? I use kind of some sensory things here. So like picking out a fragrance that I really love kind of can, it's same as like lighting a candles. When you smell that certain scent, it can kind of center you a little bit. Putting on my salt lamp, which has a very orangey glow. The orange of a salt lamp mimics the sunset, and it starts like science goes, it's a science thing. The light goes into our eyes, and those light, it's much like, when you are subtracting blue light from your screen, or, if you put it on, Apple has the mode where it's like after sunset, it'll kind of make your screens more orangey and stuff. It triggers the brain to go, oh, I can start to relax now. Put on some music, some relaxing music, put on a lotion because I can feel it in my hands if they're dry. Those kind of things can help calm and kind of center me. If I'm just kind of sitting there going, okay, something feels off, but I'm stuck. What can I do? I can wash my face, kind of feel that warmth on my face. Sometimes just stepping into a bathroom, like having that doorway, when you step through a doorway, you can kind of like forget what you were thinking and think something new. And so often when you enter a new room, you're just like, what did I come in here for? Where you can actually use it to your benefit and go, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm thinking too much. Go through a doorway and kind of see if that changes your mind. Putting on cozy socks or clothes, just something that kind of like can trigger something that might be a little better. I'm trying to think here of, it may be that I have a snack or something. Maybe I just need to eat something. Or like, I'm thinking about something citrusy can just kind of, for me, it can kind of like make something kind of come forward. And that's just kind of like my personal body. I'm using my senses. What's going on? What can I do to kind of navigate through spinning or stuck? The next one, ventures. So for high energy, it's like going to a movie or museum or the park or visiting a friend or a coffee shop. I don't do those things very often because the drugs I'm taking make me immunocompromised. I have Crohn's. I get infusions, although I'm transferring into a shot soon. I'm going to start a new med soon. So I can't do this kind of stuff very often, but as long as I'm masked and not there too long, then I can kind of do these things, or it's very low population. So that's kind of like I need some high energy to go and do those things. Medium energy is like running multiple errands, like 15 minutes maybe inside of a store, maybe looking around a little bit, or just doing a quick grocery run, running to the post office, doing donations, or volunteering or something for a cause, or dropping off something for a cause. But if I'm low energy, I'm like doing something fun, like watching YouTube. That's more on the fun side. I'm a nerd, so I love Magic the Gathering. And so I play that on my laptop, watching TV shows or comedy shows, lighting a candle, having a hot drink. So it's still stuff that's fun. I guess I should put planner stuff on here, because that's another thing that's fun that I'm sometimes have to do for my bed. If I'm spinning too much, I need to decline an event or some events. I need to check my schedule before I commit to anything, because there may just be too much going on. If I'm kind of stuck, I may just have some quiet, close the door, practice some intuition, and maybe do a body check and kind of see, what does my body need in terms of venturing out or not. So I'm going to kind of go through these a little bit faster, because you can kind of see like the patterns that are going on here. But I did want to explain some of these, because I love examples. I love examples. I'm not saying do any of these things, but I think like when you hear examples in categories, you can kind of go, oh yeah, well, in mine, it would probably be like, if you have a pet, we don't have a pet right now, walk the dog, and see how that kind of plays into things, because it applies to you. So for work, like high energy, feeling really good about work, I would be recording face videos. So I've talked about this a little bit. I'm hoping to have that happen in the next year. Again, this isn't a goal. The goal for me is actually elsewhere. It's like, I would like to do a face-to-face video. Well, recording my face video. I have done some on this channel. I just haven't for a while, because I've had a lot. 2023, just to kind of recap, I had 4 surgeries, hysterectomy, and diagnoses of things. Excuse me. And they found uterine cancer, and then took that out, and I'm clear, and now focusing on the Crohn's that I was diagnosed the year before with. So there's just a lot going on. And I don't want to ever say, like, if I don't record a face video, then I failed my goal for this year. That's not what that's about. That would be something in the next few years I would like to do. And if I don't do it, I'm not going to be sad about it. And then social media. I feel like I have to have a lot more energy for social media to like wrap my head around it, to like do it. I don't do it very often at all. I have an Instagram account. I prefer this format so much more, because I can kind of like explain myself. Eventually though, I would like to kind of put some highlights over there. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's like, I feel like I need a lot of energy for that. In the middle of the road, it's like doing some design work, recording top-down videos like this, because it's easier, but I still have to kind of, if I'm low energy, I'm not going to hop on a video too often. Doing website updates. And then low energy is like working on my planners, checking in just to see if I need to do something that day, and then rescheduling the rest. So if like I'm having a very low energy day and there's work stuff, I need to start rescheduling right away if I just can't make things. If I'm spinning, I think I put get inspired. So this may feel like info dump on top of spinning, But for me, I'll kind of go into, well, what if this? What if this? And then I'm like, no, I need to see some examples. Like I said, I need to see to get kind of like a direction, to kind of put the boat rudder in the water to get like momentum in one like a straight shot. Like I can like move around, but I need to like get it going in a direction, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So in journaling about like, what is the perfectionism that's coming up about my work? What do I feel like I'm trying to get perfect the first go? And what are my expectations? But where could I start also? Like, what is like, and actually I wanted to add this, what is the first step? And I kind of say the same thing down here, which is like having a first draft. And it's like, I think that first step in that first draft actually unlock multiple things. So if your mind is spinning, it can go, okay, let's just start here. But also if you're stuck, let's just start here. What is the only thing? Is there anything that's popping into your head right now? Can we just put that on paper without worrying about perfection? I also use the shower a lot for thoughts. Like for me, I get really clear in there. I'll be like, something will pop up that I'm just like, oh, I was noticing something was off. What was it? I get in the shower partway through. I'm just like, oh, that was it. So if I feel stuck, I'll try to take a shower if it's good timing with that. Or I talk it through with someone. I bounce some ideas off of people, or just kind of see what examples other people have. Let me write that. I like examples, because it really does help. So relationships. So I'm just thinking like friendships, is what I'll talk about here, because I don't need to talk about my relationship. So for like high energy is like video calls or even phone calls. It takes, more energy to do that. Like friend dates of just like going somewhere with somebody, or family gathering. Middle is like cuddling with someone. For me, sometimes I can get really touched out. But like having cuddles, movie night, game night, watching shows with my partner, just kind of, it's very common to kind of do those things. But if I'm having a really low energy day, I'll just kind of be texting from bed, if my son comes home and he's doing homework, we'll do homework from my bed, just so I can be comfortable, and then he can kind of work at the desk right here. And so just kind of modifying what I'm doing and seeing what I can do from the bed at that point. So I'll put modifications. I knew I would have to kind of like add some things as we go here. So if I'm really spinning about relationships, I will journal and then talk with the person, that maybe like how is that relationship working? Like, can I see it from their perspective? Can they see it from mine? Is that the problem? Is there just a misunderstanding? So perspectives, validating people's feelings. But if I'm stuck, I want to listen and ask questions of people, because I'm usually like, what's going, like gathering information, asking questions. Do I need to help or step back is a big one for parenting, especially as my son gets older. So for wellness, high energy is like asking questions, calling the doctor's offices, being on hold, and dealing with billing. So it's a lot of like, and I've had many of those days recently where, I'm scheduling, I'm dealing with insurance because I'm having a big big prescription change here, from infusions to getting shots, which it was like a whole thing. So it was like 2 days of like just phone calls. So needed some energy from that. And I also needed to rest after doing all of that. Medium energy is I'm paying attention more to what I'm eating. With Crohn's, it's really important. There can be some trigger foods that I have that can make me feel worse, although some of the meds I've been having make them feel better. But I'm focusing on ingredients, fiber. I'm also writing down notes for therapy if it's about health concerns that I'm feeling I'm not being heard. I'll talk to my therapist about how to talk to the doctor more directly. Research groups that I can join that are dealing with kind of the same medical issues, and seeing if I can kind of see if there's certain little pinpoints of information in there. You have to be a little careful in Facebook groups too. I'm talking primarily about Facebook. There can be a lot of good information. There can also be some misinformation. I don't join too many health groups. Mostly it's planning groups, but with health stuff, you have to be a little careful that you run it by some professionals before you just like try something. So, and then low energy is like check upcoming appointments so I don't miss any. Like if I'm just waking up and it's like a really bad day, I'll just check my schedule to see if I'm completely forgetting something that's happening that day. And then focusing on water, rest, and taking my meds to make sure I'm on track for that. If my head is spinning about, oh, my doctor did this, or this is happening, or I'm having these symptoms. Well, if the symptoms, then I'm going to call the doctor or something. But if it's just like the stress of it all, I'll have a good cry about it. I'll talk about it in therapy, or I'll do some really deep breathing. Put a little N in there. And then if I'm kind of stuck and I'm kind of like my body's feeling a little blah and I don't know what to do, I usually am like, I think I didn't sleep well and I need to take a nap. Like, honestly, if I'm just kind of staring off into space and I'm just like, I'm not sure what I should do next, usually it's like an hour later, like, why didn't I take a nap? So that's what I wanted to put here. I might even highlight that. There are some things here I might go through and just highlight just so that I can kind of zero in. I can do a meditation on the phone to just kind of collect my thoughts, or lay on the bed and just look at the ceiling. Sometimes that can kind of like getting a new perspective. Staring out the window is a good one. Sometimes it's okay to just stare off into space and just kind of collect your thoughts, be a little bored, or just rest your eyes. So for mental, like high energy is like having hard conversations with people. Deep journaling, like it's something you're really like, oh, I don't really want to write about that, but then like really kind of going into it and getting all those feelings out. Volunteering or joining a protest about something, like really being centered on what the cause is about that, and then actually physically doing those things. Even though it says mental, but I feel like those are connected. I'm kind of differentiating between ventures is kind of like a fun thing, and then mental is kind of like the volunteering and activism. Medium is like watching videos, making donations to causes, voting, staying on top of like Instagram and news, like having the energy to be able to process all that information, and making a plan for how I want to activate, how I want to take steps to better my community, and just having the bandwidth to do that. And then when I have low energy and that's just too much, I'm going to cut off social media and the news. I'm going to look at some memes. I'm going to watch a comedy show, because we all need to rest from all of that. We can't do that all 24/7. And just taking a break, you're going to come back more renewed and more helpful to others. Not that you have to. It's not like it's a game where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go recharge my battery like a phone and then I'll be back and be fine. No, it's when you are ready and have the energy, the mental and physical energy to participate. So like if I'm spinning, especially if there's news and I'm just spinning, I'll need to take a break And yeah, same thing. It's kind of the same thing here of watching a comedy, looking at some memes, doing a phone meditation, probably like, I want to say brain dump, because it's like there's so much going on, and you may have like found that there's a cause that's kind of near and dear to your heart that you want to support, and there's multiple options. And so you may just want to like brain dump and say, oh, well, I could help make signs, or I could help get signatures on something, or I could help people sign up to vote, or I could go to the library and do something there. I could just donate some of the money I have. Like, there's multiple options and multiple ways. You can go through on Instagram and start spreading the message and just say why you're interested in those things, or any social media platform. So yeah, like dumping those ideas somewhere, and then maybe prioritizing and saying, well, my energy level is pretty low. Let me see if I can do, just some social media for now. And then next week plan on doing something in person when I'm feeling a little better. If I'm feeling stuck mentally, taking a walk, like really, it clears your mind. You can really like, and that's one of those practicing intuition exercises, is like, if you have an area where you can decide going left or right, like going up to that intersection or sidewalk, or just like two areas of a road, and going, okay, I could go left or right here. What feels best to me? And just practicing that knowing of what you feel is kind of best is kind of like intuition training. It's just really simple thing to do, but that can also kind of center your mental energy. Again, shower thoughts can actually make things a little clearer. If you are spinning, I guess that could be in either one of those, or a different point of view. Just thinking about something from a different point of view. If you don't have experience in something, and there's a lot of people speaking up for that cause, learn a little bit more, because you may not ever exactly experience that, but you can try to understand that side a little better and understand what living in that country, that society, that or that disability, or anything, trying to kind of picture it from that point of view will help you have empathy. And so when I'm stuck, usually sometimes I can kind of feel like I'm mentally blocking or protecting myself, because I may get too emotional about it, but I need to experience that. I need to understand. Well, I can't directly experience it, but like I need to try to imagine experiencing it, and try to maybe just read some articles about people who are going through that, so I understand it, because experience is a huge part of understanding. And some things we will get to experience in life, and some things we won't. Anyway, moving on. Financial, like big things that I have like high energy for is like doing taxes. Although every year I've kind of helped myself get it easier and easier for myself, but in the past it's been like multiple days, and now I can get it down to about 2 or 3 hours because I prep everything during the year. But it takes a lot, right? Because you're touching upon all these different, like gathering all of this information, putting it in one place, trying to organize it, and yearly tracking of things, just setting up systems is a big kind of like financial high energy type thing. Middle of the road for me is like daily processing. So when I sit down and I just balance a checkbook, I guess that's an old way of saying it, but just like looking at my accounts and making sure my spreadsheet kind of matches, and that the rest of the month that I know what's happening and what bills are coming up, and making a weekly plan for that. I actually just started using, like all my planner stuff, as I've shared, previous to this, I have a whole video on my A5 rings being my like financial planner. Well, I put in a weekly printout like a weekly insert that's undated. And I realized I had to like map out my entire week for financial stuff. Like this bill comes here, this card needs to be paid off. These things are coming up that we need to pay for. We went out to dinner this one night, that kind of thing. But I realized it filled up a whole week. And I'm like, oh, no wonder this is like taking a lot of energy. Like I had a month view and I kind of go over that, but then I realized I need a week view and I never thought I needed that. And then once I did it, I'm like, oh, because I don't want all that information in this planner when I do my weekly here. I want more like tasks here. And there's just some personal information, right? So, and then like also in this medium areas, like doing admin changes. So like if you're calling up the bank to take care of something, to me, that's not as hard as like health stuff. To me, when you're arguing out health stuff, it's up here. But like sometimes like, I guess I'll say like phone calls. I'll put that up here. But sometimes you can just do like if you're canceling a streaming service or something, like sometimes it's just like a little list of a bunch of admin things. And then down here for like low energy, I just want to look at my account real quick, check my bill tracker, see if there's anything for that day, and then pay maybe one or two things that is just super important. Because if not, it can get a little crazy. So, and then spinning, if I'm kind of spinning about financial stuff, I want to talk to my partner. I want to look ahead for more of a bird's eye view of things, kind of step back a little bit, see like what are the cycles of the bills? What do we have in savings? Do we need to like fix something on the car? Is that going to cost enough? Do we have the savings for it right off the bat? Or do we have to like save up for it? And take a walk. Like financial stuff. It's kind of like mental, like wellness. I don't always have to like go and take a walk. Sometimes I just need to cry it out. But like financial and mental, I feel like sometimes that can kind of clear your head. And if you're stuck, sometimes it's like I need to do research on an upcoming purchase. I need to rest, and like this is where I mentioned like sleep on it. So like I'll just put sleep on it. I love taking time of just like taking an extra night asleep and wake up in the morning. I'm like, is it still that important to us or to me? Because I can very much have a different view the next day. I'm like, oh, no, that's not very important. And if I'm stuck, I want to talk to my partner because it's financial, and then do a check-in of just like, what is going on? If I'm feeling totally stuck financially, like what's going on? Maybe there's a detail that I missed. So the last column here, environment, is just like the house, anything that it's basically anything in the house. And so for high energy, it's like organizing, cleaning, donating, deep clean. Like I need some energy for that. But if I'm like middle energy, it's like making sure the sheets are clean, wiping the counters, putting things away, doing the dishes. Like those are the things that like maintain. But if I really want to make bigger changes, it's definitely those top ones. And then if I have low energy, I'm just going to have to let things go, ask for help, do things tomorrow. And then I put multiple dishwasher runs. This is something that I guess I felt a little guilty. I'm like trying to put everything into the dishwasher, make just one load, but I'm like, there are some times when I do not have the energy to do much, and anything that is dishwasher safe is going in there. Fortunately, we have a lot of all metal pans, and I'm just like, yep, we're running it right now. I'm not hand washing all this, and we have a pretty good dishwasher that can handle that. So I'm just like, well, this is a 2-pod, day. Like I could have literally run it earlier and it's an empty dishwasher. And I'm just like, yep, we're putting it all in and we're running it tonight again. So to me that, or, you know, you start to empty it and you're like, oh, this stuff isn't as clean. Put it back through. Don't worry about it because you don't have the energy for that kind of stuff. If I'm spinning, I need to write a list. It's much like the brain dump. I just need to put everything on the list because I'm like, oh, I have this to do. I need to get donations out. I need to go through these drawers. I need. Try to look at like needs and shoulds and see, is it really a need or should? Is this something that we can like split apart into smaller pieces? Because definitely when you're low energy on any of these things, you want to see if there's a very, very small version of it that you can do or postponing. I'm just thinking like, you know, medium here, I would say also laundry. I'll put that here. But I also put that over here with personal stuff. But I mean, laundry is also like towels and things. Like, if you have 3 loads, can you do 1? If you have 1 load, can you just move everything into the laundry room for tomorrow? If you don't have the strength to do that, can you just put everything into the hamper? Try to make it like a really small step if you're like down here in low energy or just overwhelmed. You can also kind of apply this to grief. When there's new grief in your life, and it can be a loved one or a pet or something, but it can also be mourning a part of yourself. It can also be parenthood. It can also like mourning like who you used to be now that you're a parent. It can be losing a job and going, oh, but I really liked who I was in that position, right? I liked helping people. I liked doing that thing. Whenever you feel a loss, it can very much take a big toll on your mental energy. And so kind of looking into like, what is the very ground level of doing things? Or do I just need to stay in bed all day? Like, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay to just do that. Let's see. And then another spinning thing, what would help everyone? Like kind of looking at it and going, well, if I'm going to spend the physical energy on something, what would kind of benefit all of us instead of maybe just 1 or 2 people? So like doing all the dishes is going to help the whole family. Picking up the living room or something like that. And then what can others do to help that as well? So it's not just all on your shoulders if you have someone else around who can help. If it's just you and some very young ones, it may just be you. Sometimes they can toddle around well enough. Like I remember some of the toddler stages, they might be able to put something in a basket, like a couple things. And maybe that's enough to kind of just help you a little bit. If you're stuck, sometimes I get kind of stuck on the donations part or trying to get rid of things out of my home. So how can I let stuff go? How long have I had something? There's a bunch of other questions you can ask yourself. I kind of run through some of like, it's more than like, does this bring me joy? It's more, does this bring me sadness? Is this something I feel obligated to have here because someone visits me? Is it something that I know someone else would really enjoy? Have I had it a year and never used it? But then there's also those things of like, where there's, for me, as someone who can't just run to the store all the time, I do have kind of stocked up things, and it really calms me to know that I have those things. And I'm trying to think, there was something, what was it? I'm trying to think. Anyway, sometimes you'll like go, I am so glad I kept that around. Oh, it was a medication. That didn't expire anytime soon. It was just like one of those things that you have around for first aid stuff. And you're like, oh, do I have some of that? And I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful I didn't like get rid of that. It's been good for a couple years, but I'm just glad I don't have to run out to the store and grab it right this moment. And even though I didn't have a use for it right then, but it's kind of one of those staples that's kind of good to have around. Then it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to keep some extra stuff around because I'm introverted. I'm immunocompromised. I don't leave the house that often. And it helps then to, if I don't have something, put it on the list for like when I'm dropping off my son. There's a really good point when I'm coming back that I can stop and get something really quick. If I don't catch that moment, I'm going to have to wait till the next time because it's much harder, even though it's like the same distance mentally. I just put it on the list the next time I'm out instead of actually just going again later that day. So that's just how my brain works. Because I get in these like flow states of just like working or focusing on just like financial stuff or wellness stuff. And I need a lot of concentration in that. And if I'm kind of stopping in the middle of that and going somewhere, it totally breaks my concentration. That's my brain. That's my brain. So that's what I wanted to share today. I did want to go through these because I thought examples, right? Like examples help people. Do you have to do this way? No, not at all. You could like put things on this side. You could still have your goals. I just wanted to do this because I use the HMNL all the time in my health planner, which is also on this channel, and I use it every week. And I just recognize like the two things of like having too much momentum and having no momentum were the two key things for me that I can see where perfectionism kind of sets in, and I see where I get a little, as I like spinny, ruminating on things. And I felt like, yeah, that would really help to kind of just sort this out. I was tempted not to fill every square, but then as I went through it, I'm like, no, I have examples for all these. And I think it's kind of good to step through these. So yeah, let me know what you think. Like, did this bring any ideas to you? Did anything pop into your head that maybe I could kind of consider here that I didn't? Because I don't feel like this is 100% complete, but I feel like this is like, feels really good, especially because I like the colors and it makes more sense organized. Like if I go back to this, it's basically like taking these, putting them here. I feel like I kind of did that a little bit too, but I took some of these ideas and I like that I organized my ideas and it's a lot more accessible now. Because yeah, as I said before, like just having black and white writing, just having like ink on the page, nothing was standing out to me. Nothing was kind of going, oh, but when I have like this hierarchy of like titles and colors, and knowing high to low and then some like feelings down here, it just makes more sense to me that I could kind of access this and use it more often. Yeah. So let me know what you think. I would love to hear. I got so many great comments last time. I love hearing about your experiences. If you're disabled, chronically ill, neurodivergent, anything going on in your life that is a hardship. I think parenting, loss in your life, single parenting, like all these kind of things come up that make things harder. And just, I'm not saying it's all on you. I'm not saying that society doesn't need to change. I'm just saying this is what we have control over. And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't. So, and if all the control that you have over that day is staying in bed, then that's the control that you have. So, yeah, just let me know. I would love to hear your experience, your situation, because it was really, I find it fascinating to see who's connecting with this kind of information. I would love to hear more about you. And if you like this kind of content, I will be then filtering this kind of stuff into my weeklies a little bit. I typically just do kind of like a week in here to see what overlaps. And then I also have my B6 and my weekly for my health tracker. And my B6 is kind of turning into more of a daily, but also it's going to be kind of a work planner. So if you enjoyed that, please subscribe on your way out. Give this a like if you enjoyed it. Share it if you found this interesting. And I think that's it. Thank you for listening if you've made it this far. And if you have, put a little heart or a heart with the bandage, a little heart that had a little bandage on there. I don't know. Maybe in the comments. I don't know. If you want to, or not, or just enjoy this and move on with your day. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.